Heavy rain and storms has led to some flooding in portions of our area today, and things have gotten very interesting with the models in regards to the likely tropical development by the end of next week. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's nice to see you on a late Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we're getting more active weather in our western areas with some heavy rain and some isolated flooding. We'll take a look at that, and then we're going to deep dive into the tropics. We'll look at the models in regards to the likely tropical development in the Caribbean as we get towards the end of the next week. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. We'll jump right into the video. Infrared satellite imagery, live lightning data here at Meteo Mundo. This is the number of lightning strikes in this view in just the past 15 minutes. And late on this Saturday, we've really started to pump up some of the heavier rain and thunderstorms across portions of our area. We'll start off with our friends in Jamaica, where storms are really getting going right now. Showers, storms have been very prolific during the mid to late afternoon hours of this Saturday, including the Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town area, Halfway Tree, places like that have all gotten some at least good rain, if not some heavier rain and some lightning. You can see that develop over places like Linstead, Ocho Rios, and Port Maria, basically kind of the east central portions of the island with the most prolific activity on this Saturday afternoon. It's waning a little bit here as we head towards sunset, but still the opportunity for a few passing showers. We've also had some rougher sea conditions offshore as well, so keep that in mind on the south side of the island, and actually had a warning for thunderstorms at sea for the north coast of Jamaica as well. But more active weather, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, more tropical moisture in play here overall for the Western Caribbean. Cayman Islands, just a few passing clouds, nothing really spectacular for today over Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac. But there's the opportunity to catch a shower even later tonight, maybe even an isolated rumble of thunder. Certainly we could see some diurnal storms, meaning that some of this activity could be during the evening and even the overnight hours. Now, we're getting more active weather developing here again with our Central American gyre. And for those who are asking what exactly that is, it is an inherent spin over Central America and the Yucatan this time of the year in accordance with the monsoon season there as well. And this spin can also promote tropical development, especially on the periphery, either the western side of the Caribbean or even the eastern side of the Pacific. But that being said, it brings some heavier rains and just some really squally weather and some active weather to this part of the world this time of the year. And we're really starting to see this rain pick back up again towards Cancun, cloudy day, Cozumel, Tulum, but especially back down towards Belize, portions of Roatan as well. We've had heavy rain and storms in this area overnight, all morning long, and throughout the day, and it's led to some flooding. Remember, places like Belize and portions of Guatemala and Honduras still reeling with some heavy rain and some flooding secondary to what happened with Nadine that came through. So got a couple of pictures and videos to show you from Belize. We'll start off in Belize City this morning. From Matthew, you can see just those thick, dark clouds coming in, rich tropical moisture, heavy rain and downpours across Belize City throughout most of the day and stuck in the cloud coverage as well. This is from Eduardo, Hattieville, Belize. You can see some of the thicker clouds, same situation. Again, just that's what that Central American gyre is going to do. It's going to bring good rain chances to these areas here. And regardless of tropical development, heavy rain is likely through portions of Central America and the Yucatan for the coming week ahead. So in some ways, we're just kind of getting started. You can see the lightnings strikes beginning to develop just north of places like Roatan and Guanaja. And we've got some video to show you out of Guanaja. Henry Urbina brings us what he just described as some good heavy rainfall there across the island. Again, that's just east of the Roatan area there off the north coastline of Honduras. Appreciate Henry sending in that video, but you can just see that's a good downpour there. And then Jennifer Mendoza, this is going to be from the coastline of Guanaja, same island there off the northern coastline of Honduras. And you can just see those thick clouds rolling in. That's just kind of doom and gloom, right? Just really wet weather. And tropically speaking, we're going to continue to see active weather in this area with rich, heavy downpours coming in. So again, regardless of tropical development, days and days of rain expected here. And it's not just the areas I've mentioned already, but you get down towards Honduras and Nicaragua and Costa Rica and Panama, all with the opportunity for very heavy rain activity here. We're talking about a few inches, maybe 50 to 75 millimeters of rain in areas each day, some more than that Again, flooding is going to be an issue in this part of the world here for the week to come. Keep a close eye on that. Let's see what's happening for our friends in the Dominican Republic and Haiti for today. Showers and storms becoming more prolific. And again, it's just going to be kind of a wetter pattern overall for this area. Still going to be somewhat isolated to scattered, but heavy downpours, fair amount of lightning here as well towards Lacai, even Port-au-Prince, just north of the Santo Domingo area, just kind of west of Punta Cana there, so towards San Pedro de Macorís and La Romana, trying to pick up a few showers and storms, mainly inland, but some of that is trying to drift off towards the coastline. Starting to see a few storms develop over Puerto Rico as well. It's been a quieter day, heat advisories again when it's not raining, but a few showers there towards Uti Alto and Ponce. Otherwise, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands have been relatively quiet for today, and it really hasn't been a bad forecast through most of the Lesser Antilles as well, both the Windward and the Leeward Islands here. Trying to switch over to our visible satellite imagery. There you go. Easterlies, breezy at times, passing showers. Sure, there's been pockets of heavier rain, but overall we've been pretty good. No real watches or warnings in effect for the islands. I've been keeping an eye on that, but again, we've had some passing showers, and it's been heavy from time to time, but nothing extremely concentrated. Looking pretty good in Nueva Esparta today. Looking pretty good and drier for our friends in the ABC Islands. Up the road here to the Bahamas, beautiful day, right? Quiet. Maybe a brief shower, but not a lot of rainfall on this Saturday across the island chain. Water vapor imagery again, still relatively dry air. We are starting to see more moisture here from Central America and the Yucatan spread its way back north and east. This will eventually start to bring in some rain to the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos starting tomorrow, but especially Monday and Tuesday. The other thing is we are going to get real windy here. There are already gale watches that are going to go into effect for the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos starting on Monday. And I'll talk more about that coming up. But there's a lot of wind that'll be developing here as well. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Really thank you for the support. It's necessary. We need to keep growing here at Meteo Mundo. And the easiest way to do that is simply by liking this video and then subscribing if you're not a subscriber. It gets more eyes on us. More people who don't even know we exist will see the videos if you guys do those two simple things, and I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends, and of course finding ways here at the channel to support us. And again, our hearty thanks for that as well. So now we're going to deep dive into the tropics. We're going to get right into it here and talk about what I expect as we continue to monitor the Western and the Central Caribbean for tropical development by mid, but especially towards late week. Again, step number one is this Central American gyre getting more active. Regardless of development, just like with Nadine, we are going to have heavy flooding rains in this area. That's not going to be, a byproduct of this will be the opportunity to spin up something tropically. But regardless, you can see all this wet weather that's not going anywhere. Other areas that could see heavy rainfall as well will include the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, portions of Cuba, and the Dominican Republic and Haiti. These are the areas that have the opportunity for some very heavy rain over the next several days. Not every day, but the tropical moisture is going to be abundant. And then for the Turks and the Caicos, all the way up towards Freeport, Lucaya there, Grand Bahama, a lot of wind will be starting to pick up by early next week. So let's break down the models for you guys. Couple of interesting things I'm going to be pointing out with the various models. We'll start off with the GFS model. I'm going to start off with the rain, and then we'll look at the wind. Now, yesterday's model kind of backed off development slightly, not as far as development in getting something, but in time, okay? Today's 12Z run looks a lot more like all the other ones over the past week. It was almost like yesterday's was a bit of an outlier where we do get a wrapped up storm in the Caribbean rather than fighting to try and develop something as it pushes actually north of the Greater Antilles. The one thing I've noticed actually in the last couple of days from this GFS deterministic model is that development has been slightly east each and every day. Kind of midweek, we started off with development trying to move up the Central American coastline or somewhere closer to the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and Jamaica. But now on this latest run, we start to see that development kind of wrap up south of Jamaica and then work its way towards the Dominican Republic, the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Now look, again, nothing has developed as of yet. We don't want to start talking about locations as far as, yes, this is where it's going by any means, right? We're not anywhere near that, but we have to look at trends. Trends are our friends in these models, and we want to see consistency, both run to run with the specific model and then having multiple models show similar solutions, right? So when we look at this on the GFS deterministic, as we get into next Friday, I believe, right? So as we get into next Friday, we start to see this start to slowly wrap up, and then by next weekend. Now again, on this GFS deterministic, we would have a storm that would be trying to get a little bit closer to Jamaica, but especially Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and maybe even Puerto Rico. And it's certainly a stronger storm on yesterday's model at this time, and then moving north. Now look, again, if this storm goes over Hispaniola, it's a tremendously mountainous island. And these storms get ripped apart when they get anywhere near it, let alone going right over it. So this solution would rip apart this storm as it tries to move north towards the Turks, the Caicos. But again, we don't want to focus solely on the exact location of this, but again, the trends that the models have been showing. Yesterday, we really didn't have a very defined system wrapped up here. And just before I came on, I made sure that these winds went all the way out, unlike yesterday's video. And so I hope this darn thing is going to cooperate this time. I didn't like to see that blank stuff, but we'll start to see it wrap up right here. And yeah, it's going to give us the full run and then move in. So now we're back to, on the GFS model, truly having a tropical storm, or potentially even stronger as we get into, again, next weekend, right there. So if we query these winds, and these are sustained winds at the surface. So this would be basically, what we would be looking at from what the Hurricane Center we talk about. These aren't gusts. These are sustained winds. So let me zoom into that area. Notice, first of all, it's a really small storm, small core. This would be a very high-end, very, very high-end tropical storm, if not pushing a hurricane. 74-mile-an-hour winds are hurricane-force winds, and we're teetering on that here with the GFS deterministic. The interesting thing is it slightly weakens, just a touch, not much, just a touch, as it begins to interact with Hispaniola on this track, right? This would have a tremendous impact on this storm. Now you do have hurricane force winds here. I believe, listen, I'm no superhero with these dates. This is going to be next Saturday, right? So I want to make sure I was right on that. So a week from today, this would be basically next Saturday night. So a week from today that you would have a potential hurricane moving closer here. But again, nothing has formed as of yet. But now we are more than a week where we have the GFS and the European models developing something, right? So in this part of the world, we got to really pay attention to it. You can see that the spin up occurs right where we would expect it to. Southwest Caribbean on the eastern periphery of that Central American gyre, inherent spin in the atmosphere, inherent vorticity. Bit of an east push before it turns a little bit north, right? Wind fields this time of the year are a little bit erratic. They don't necessarily have to go north and west. These storms can push a little bit east before they go up to the north. Certainly, again, as we transition kind of out of tropical season here with more mid-latitude cyclones, the jet stream getting a little bit farther to the south, just overall the wind field pattern can get a little bit more messed up. So let me go back over to the reflectivity here just one more time real fast. And the bigger thing that I want to talk about here as this loops up is, again, yes, there is likely tropical development somewhere in this area late next week. But look at all of the rain as well, guys. Look at all of this rain. We're going to get more moisture that's going to get pinned up against a stalled front here, okay? And we could have heavy rain for portions of the Leeward Islands and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and Haiti and the Turks, the Caicos and the Bahamas regardless. And that's not even mentioning, again, this Central American gyre, which will continue to spin and will continue to spurt up heavier rain right through Central America and the Yucatan as well. Potentially, if this storm does go this far east, by next weekend, it could drag drier air in behind it. So if you live in this part of the world, right, from Cancun all the way back down towards San Jose and Panama City, if this solution plays out, drier air comes in out of the north and would help you guys with the rain. Farther west, you guys kind of stay more in the wet weather, right? So this is a solution that would actually try and dry out Central America late week. But until then, for at least the next 3 or 4 days, it's going to be very heavy rain there. But it's an exceptional amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Then if I go over to the wind gusts here, and I hope it doesn't, sometimes that freaks out on me, and I load this up, the next thing I want to point out are the winds in the Turks and the Caicos well before any development gets close to here. So this is going to be, again, starting on Monday, already gale watches in effect. Look at the winds that are going to be trying to move into the area here. Again, today is the 26th, so Sunday the 27th, starting on the 28th through Halloween, Thursday the 31st. Just look at these winds, all right? And you say, all right, that's a huge field of green. What does that mean? Well, when I query this, take a look at these winds from the Turks to the Caicos, Acklands, Georgetown, Long Island, Nassau, New Providence, Freeport. 25, 30, 35 mile an hour winds. And what did we have here right at the end? Look at that. So kind of right towards the next weekend, that was this Friday, look at the Turks and the Caicos. Now you're talking about winds pushing 40 miles an hour. Very, very strong winds here. And again, at this time frame on the GFS, this is developing here. Now the interesting thing is the European model tries to pick up a little development over here. Little tropical depression or weak tropical storm. I'll show you that. This could either be an elongated area of really windy conditions and squally weather, or on the European model, we could try and get a little bit of a spin up. Just like Oscar did. Remember, Oscar developed right near the Turks and Caicos, but beforehand, north of the Lesser Antilles, it's kind of a big area of wind that mainly missed the Lesser Antilles in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and then became a hurricane like that. Remember, last week became a hurricane literally in about 24 hours. So that's a possibility. When I show you the GFS ensembles, you're not going to see that develop on the GFS, okay? So we look down here again. I think the earliest initiation is probably on Thursday, the 31st of October, Friday, and then into Saturday, into the weekend. You know, we see more members showing that development. We see stronger development. But again, now we're back to a true low-level center in the Caribbean rather than fighting to develop before it moves north and into the Greater Antilles and into the Western Atlantic, all right? So earlier development, again, back on the GFS model. This is the European model ensembles. Okay, a couple of things to point out. You will see development here, but I step to this side of the screen and you're also going to see a few members pulling a storm from the Atlantic. So this is actually two different storms. You have the one potentially developing in the Caribbean, and we do see again development before Jamaica, Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti, slightly farther east, right? We have a couple closer to Central America, but the shift has been a little bit more east. But then you have more here, and that's a secondary system. This is not just one. The European now has two different potential areas. All right, and again, the time frame would be, this is next Sunday afternoon. The European model is a little bit slower in development, and it kind of always is at the beginning. It always kind of tries to pick up speed towards the end as these systems really get going, but it's about 24 hours or so behind. But again, the biggest thing is that the European model has a secondary area, either north of the Lesser Antilles or close to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, to watch out for over next weekend as well. You could imagine that based on this GFS model, you're going to see a ton of areas that really need to pay attention boating wise. I have mentioned your gale conditions coming into the Bahamas, so I would not want to be out in the exposed waters of the Atlantic there. I mean, you can see some wave heights. Let me just take myself off camera. Look at the bottom of your screen. I know it's going to come quick. These are the maximum wave heights, okay? Watch these pick up to 12 feet, 13 feet, and then it just blows up with some, 30-foot waves if this thing really wraps up. And again, this particular wave watch model is based off of the GFS, so you'll see the development here and then pushing north and east, but you get this huge area of wind ahead of it, and then that starts to come in. Boy, if those two things could combine, that could be some really big wind in this area here next weekend, so I'll keep an eye out for that. Then we go back to the rainfall totals, still focusing in on Central America and the Yucatan for the highest rain. But again, on the European model, we pull in a storm this way, and then we have our secondary area here. This is a lot of rain, folks. This is a lot of rain in inches. You get to the dark reds and the browns, that's 4 to 6 inches of rain, 100 to 150 millimeters, but there's higher than that as well. There will be some spots, I believe, in Central America, and potentially, if this plays out, portions of the Greater Antilles that could be 8 to 10 inches of rain just through next week. Okay, that's 200 to 250 millimeters with locally even higher amounts. But there's a big area of very heavy rainfall coming. Okay, the Bahamas, it's more about the wind. Back down towards the Windward Islands is a little bit quieter, but we'll see how these two areas play out and just how much rain, regardless of tropical development, it's going to bring our region. If we look at the GFS model, rainfall totals, just over the next 5 days. Okay, this just takes us until next Thursday, Halloween. Let me see here. So I wanted to zoom in real quick. You can, again, where we're developing our storm, just off the coastline of Costa Rica. Look at that. More than a foot of rain here, but some of the heavier rainfall totals will sneak right along the Central American coastline. You've got big, heavy rainfall, again, near shore of Quintana Roo and Belize, where they could get a few more inches of rain. Then inland, there's a nice little pocket here. It's going to be west of San Ignacio, but you get the idea, right? Where there's going to be some very heavy rainfall here, Roatan, Guanaja, portions of the Cayman Islands could get heavy rain as well towards Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, little bullseye right there of 6 inches over those islands. Jamaica, again, opportunity for high rainfall totals here. It's not going to be island-wide, it'll be area-specific, but several inches of rain possible there. And look, the GFS model does pick up on heavy rain and wind. It just doesn't wrap up an area of low pressure here. So again, we could be talking about where places like San Juan North could have several inches of rain, and then down towards Ponce and Guayama and Yabucoa, they don't have much. We could literally be slicing it like that. On the GFS model, heavy rainfall for Punta Cana, right up the DR coastline, Samana, towards Puerto Plata, okay? So, big rain here and here, drier to the Windward Islands, southern side of the Lesser Antilles, drier to the Bahamas, but the Bahamas, the big story, is going to be the wind starting on Monday. I appreciate you guys. Find us across social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, and I do appreciate the friends of the channel who sent me those pictures and videos today, myMediaMundo@gmail.com. If you have a specific question about the forecast, drop it in the comment section below. While you're down there, thanks again for liking and subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Back tomorrow with the latest. You have a great rest of your Saturday. Until next time, I'll see you soon right here at Media Mundo.